I grew up in a Mormon home and also a very abusive home. My father didn't know much about it, but my stepmother was pretty bad. I ran away when I was 8 from Idaho to Spokane, Washington, and I lived with my grandmother for a while, and then I ran away when I was 14, and I never went back home. So I went straight from a Mormon home and a Mormon life to straight to the streets at 14. As a kid, going straight into the streets and being Mormon, I had no street skills whatsoever. And somebody got me and says, "Hey, I know how you can make some money." And I said, "Well, okay." And I then went into, this is kind of hard. I became a prostitute for males at 14 until I went to prison. And I really lost who I was. I had no idea. Thought I was gay, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was a very confused person. I did drugs for my first time when I was 14. I was totally addicted to the needle after that. I would go to a lot of different cities because I would mess over a lot of different people because that was the lifestyle you're in, you know, and you become a lot of different people in that lifestyle because one group might be like this, but then the next group's like this, and you have to fit into all of it. Then you end up losing who you were. And that's what since I'd never really found out who I was, because I was only 14, I became all these different things that I just was so confused. My family wouldn't have nothing to do with me. I went to prison for holding up a Domino's, which was so stupid. We had money, we didn't need to hold it up. It was just stupid. We were on drugs. I went to prison. I don't really want to talk too much about prison. There's just things that you don't want to know and you don't want to experience. They sent me from New Mexico up here to Washington, told me never to go back to New Mexico. Got my life together for a while, and I became a garbage man, was married and had a child. And I thought because of her, that she was the only reason who I was that day, that time. You know, it was her that I became a garbage man. It was her that we owned a house. It was her. So when we got divorced, I thought, well, I can't do it without her. And I started making meth, and I started doing drugs again. It got to where her mother, my daughter's mother, had to make it where I never see her again. And she did what every good mother should do. You know, for a long time, it was really hard for me to accept that. And got really bad. I mean, to a point where I became homicidal. I wanted to kill people, you know. And my thought was, if I kill them, it'll be better than the life that they're living. It was so messed up. I mean, my mind was just totally, Satan was just in there. When I ran away at 8, I ran away from Idaho. I ended up in Pullman for a little bit. And you know, when you're 8, you see some kids, you want to play. So we played. And they went into their house, and I watched them eating, and I just sat out there. I watched them sit around the TV, and I'd never felt so lonely in my whole life than I did at that moment. And that loneliness followed me all the way. And it wasn't until I saw a passion play when Christ was on the cross, and he said, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" I knew at that moment, Jesus felt everything that I felt, and it was the one thing that I felt that had kept me down for so many years. And yeah, kind of, you know, I can't even watch Passion Play to this day without crying. Just before I became a Christian, what had happened is, okay, I was going to make drugs, and I had all my chemicals, everything, and these people came to my house, and they said, "We're from the Baptist church up the road here, and we'd like to pray for you." I says, "Well, pray that I get my dope made, and you're standing in a meth lab right now." And they go, "Well, we'll pray for God's will." And I'm like, "Okay, well, whatever the will be, let it be." You know, and then I got all my chemicals stolen. I made my wife strip down because I thought she was wearing a wire, and and I'd had it. I was like, what am I doing? You know, I heard this Amy Grant song on the radio. I don't know, I don't even listen to Amy Grant, but it was on the radio, so I listened to it. I broke down and cried. So that next Sunday, I went into a church, and those were the people that prayed for me. After a while, I went to a family reunion because I was able to be with my family again. And one of the guys that prayed for me turned out to be my cousin. He was like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What are you doing here? This is my family." "No, it's my family reunion." But it was really cool because not only did I have, I had family praying for me that I didn't even know about. So now, I got God in my life. I got a relationship with Jesus, and I have a great future ahead of me. I have a wife that we've been married 14 years now. I have 3 children, 3 grandchildren. But God is awesome. I could not live this life without God. I really couldn't.